this is the ultrasound. You're always gonna, or most of the times you're gonna come to this screen right here. So you hit on that little person button, and then you hit next patient. And then of course you want to save the previous person's data. And then the last name, again, I'm gonna input Robin's information. And for this, it is month, date, and then the year. No, it's born in 2000. So the K1, and for the ultrasound, we input the K1, K2 for the right eye, and then K1, K2 for the left eye as well. Usually we get these values from the AR machine, the auto refract that we do. But in case, let's say you don't have the auto refract, you can always use the sheet here. You can always use the information from the IOL master calculation, the SRKD or the Hoffer Q, doesn't matter. So these numbers that you see here, 7.86, 7.79, 7.84, and 7.73, we can use these numbers to input in here. So for right eye, I'm gonna go with 7.86, and then 7.79. 7.84 and 7.73. And then you keep hitting enter, enter, enter until it goes away. And then you hit on this little squiggly lines button. And yes, I want to confirm. And then again, I'm going to select Dr. Durjan's name here. And then you click on this little scanner button. You rotate the dial to, usually it kind of depends, 80, 85, 86. I think every single person has their own kind of set number. I usually set it to 86. I know some people set it to 85. So after her information's in, I'm going to put the freezing drops, which is the Alkane. It works instantly, so I'm going to put a couple of drops in Robin's eye.
Thank you.
You always want to give them some tissues. Robin, I'll get you to look up.
You did good, Robin.
So now I'm going to clean the probe. Usually after any person who uses it, they clean it, but you want to make sure you clean it before and after just to be sure. So I'm going to clean this using the alcohol that's always here. And you want to clean this part because that's the one that's going to be touching the patient's eye. And then I want to wait for a couple of seconds for it to dry. Until then, you can give the instructions to the patient. So, Robbie, you're going to keep looking straight ahead at the picture of those palm trees on the wall. Keep looking straight ahead, and I'll be quick, I promise. So we're done with the right eye. So the chime that you heard at the end is what we're looking for. That means that we've got the 10 measurements we need, and 10 measurements is all that we need. After it's gotten the 10 measurements, we're good, so we don't really need to click on anything else. And when you're touching the probe to the patient's eye, make sure you're very gentle with it, so you're not pressing against it. Just lightly touch. Sometimes what's going to happen also is that you don't even need to touch the patient's eye. It just records the measurements. But most of the time you do, so make sure you gently touch the eye, don't press too hard. So now we're going to move on to the left eye. For this machine, you have to make sure that you click on this OD/OS button. So I'm going to click on it once, and it's going to bring me to the left eye. So I'm going to repeat the same process, click on the little scanner button, set it to 86 there, and now I'm going to take the measurements. So Robin, keep looking straight ahead again. Okay. So that's done. After we've gotten the 10 measurements, you click on this little squiggly button again. This brings you to the screen, so now we need to calculate it. The only way to calculate this is to click on this button, the ODOS button again. So make sure you click it a couple of times to make sure that all the measurements are intact, because if you don't, then it's not going to record anything. So after you've done that, you're going to click on this printer button, and we print on the Windows printer, which is attached right there. And now that I've done that, I'm going to clean the probe again. And place it here for the next person to use it. With this, make sure you always put the freezing drops in the patient's eyes, otherwise you're going to be poking them pretty hard and they're going to be very uncomfortable. So make sure you always put the freezing drops in, and just let the patients, so Robin again was pretty good here. She could open her eyes well and she wasn't really flinching, but you're going to see a lot of patients who kind of get scared. I mean, given, something's coming at your eye, just make sure you open the eyes wide and get some help if you're not able to open it yourself. Get another patient to come in, not the patient, another staff member to come in, open the eyes wide, and then while you do the measurements. So just make sure, again, you're very gentle with this. It just sounds and looks more scary than it is for the patient as well as the staff member. So again, the key is to just be gentle and make sure that the patient isn't very uncomfortable.
Awesome. Thank y'all.